In March 2025, President Donald Trump did something that no one in Washington expected. He signed Executive Order 14303. This order established the first United States strategic Bitcoin reserve. It directed the government to seize and hold all forfeited Bitcoin as a strategic national asset. The crypto market went ballistic. Bitcoin soared past $100,000. The mainstream media called it the most radical financial move of the century. They were wrong. No, the Bitcoin order was not the radical move. It was the distraction. It was a smokescreen designed to draw the world's attention to the new technology. While Trump prepared the real financial reset in the dark, because as revolutionary as Bitcoin is, it cannot solve America's biggest problem. The problem is debt. $38 trillion of it. The U.S. government currently holds about 200,000 Bitcoin. Even at $100,000 per coin, that is only $20 billion. Our national debt is $38 trillion. Bitcoin is a rounding error. It doesn't move the needle. Trump knows this. He is a real estate guy. He understands leverage and collateral. To reset the global financial system, you need the ultimate collateral. You need the asset that has served as money for 5,000 years. Gold. The Bitcoin order was just the opening salvo, the proof of concept. Now, leaks from inside the administration suggest that Phase 2 is already being drafted. A new executive order that makes the Bitcoin move look like child's play. An order that will fundamentally rewrite the rules of global finance. An order to put the US dollar back on a gold standard. This sounds impossible. Mainstream economists will tell you it's crazy, but they also said Trump would never be president again. To understand this plan, you have to ignore the noise and look at who is in the room. You have to look at the architect of this plan. Her name is Judy Shelton. Judy Shelton is not your typical economist. She is an outsider, a rebel. She has spent her career arguing that the Federal Reserve is a dangerous failure. She believes that fiat money, money backed by nothing, is the root cause of inflation and inequality. Trump nominated her to the Federal Reserve Board in his first term. The Senate rejected her. They were terrified of her ideas. But now, in his second term, Trump doesn't need the Senate to listen to her advice. She is his unofficial monetary czar, and her plan is radically simple. It isn't about people walking around with gold coins in their pockets. It's about anchoring the U.S. financial system to reality. Shelton has proposed a mechanism called a Gold-Convertible Treasury Bond. Here is how it works. The U.S. Treasury issues a new type of 10-year bond. When the bond matures in 10 years, you have a choice. You can take your principal back in U.S. dollars plus interest, or you can demand physical gold at a fixed price. This simple instrument changes everything. It forces the government to be honest about inflation. If they print too much money and the dollar loses value, investors will refuse the dollars and demand the gold. This would drain the U.S. gold reserves. To prevent that, the government must stop printing money. It imposes discipline on Washington. That is why they hate it. But Judy Shelton knows this bond is just the first step. It's the bridge to the real plan. The plan to wipe out the $38 trillion debt in a single weekend. And that brings us to the leaked executive order. The document in question isn't just a policy paper, it is a weapon. It outlines a legal mechanism that has been dormant since 1934. Most people think that to go back to a gold standard, you have to pass a law through Congress. You have to debate it on CNN. You have to get votes. But Trump's advisors have found a loophole, a backdoor that allows the president to reset the entire financial system with a single signature. It relies on a secret that the Federal Reserve doesn't want you to know. The Federal Reserve does not own the gold in Fort Knox. The United States Treasury owns it. The people own it. The Fed simply holds a piece of paper called a gold certificate. And here is the magic trick. On the official books of the U.S. government, that gold is valued at $42.22 an ounce. This price was set by a statute in 1973 and never changed. So, the Treasury says their 261 million ounces of gold is worth about $11 billion. But the market price is over $2,600. The leaked plan calls for Trump to invoke the Gold Reserve Act authority. He will instruct the Treasury Secretary to revalue the gold to a new price. Not $2,600, that doesn't solve the debt. He needs a price that balances the balance sheet. According to the M2 money supply math, that price is $20,000 per ounce. Here's exactly what happens on the Saturday night of the reset. Step 1. The president announces the new statutory price of gold is $20,000. Step 2. The Treasury issues new gold certificates to the Federal Reserve at the new price. Step 3. The Fed is legally required to accept them. Step 4. The Fed credits the U.S. Treasury's checking account with the difference. Instantly, the government has $5 trillion of cash. Debt-free? They didn't tax you. They didn't sell bonds to China. They simply recognized the real value of the asset they already owned. Well, what do they do with that $5 trillion? They buy back the debt. They pay off the bonds held by the Social Security Trust Fund to save it. They capitalize the new sovereign wealth fund to build factories and energy grids. It is a debt jubilee, a magic trick of accounting. But, as every economist knows, there is no such thing as a free lunch. When you revalue gold to $20,000, you are effectively devaluing the dollar by 90%. The price of everything else, bread, gas, houses, will skyrocket in dollar terms. This is the Nixon shock in reverse. In 1971, Nixon depegged gold to save the government. In 2027, Trump repegs gold to save the government. The government survives. The debt is wiped clean. But the saver, the person holding cash in a bank account, gets decimated. This is why the order is secret. If the public knew this was coming, there would be a run on the banks tomorrow morning. Everyone would dump their dollars for gold, land, and Bitcoin before the price change. That is why it will happen on a weekend, likely a Sunday night. You will go to sleep in one world and wake up in another. So, what does the world look like the morning after the order is signed? We enter a bipolar financial system. On one side, you have the old money, stocks and bonds. If interest rates spike because of the inflation, the stock market will initially crash. Companies that rely on debt, like tech startups and zombie corporations, will go bankrupt. But on the other side, you have hard assets. Asset 1, silver, the sleeping giant. Historically, when gold moves, silver moves faster. Right now, the gold to silver ratio is near 85 to 1. This means silver is historically cheap. In a monetary reset, that ratio typically snaps back to 15 to 1. If gold goes to $20,000 and the ratio hits 15, silver goes to $300 an ounce. That is a 40x return from today's prices. Asset 2, gold mining stocks, the leverage play. If the price of gold goes up 10x, the profits of a gold miner can go up 50x or 100x. Their costs stay fixed in dollars, but their revenue explodes in revalued gold terms. Asset 3, land and farmland. When paper money dies, people cannot eat gold. They need food. Productive land becomes the ultimate store of generational wealth. And finally, asset 4, Bitcoin, the digital gold. Remember the first executive order? Trump isn't choosing gold over Bitcoin. He is using them together. Gold is the floor for the old economy. Bitcoin is the bridge to the new economy. If gold goes to $20,000, Bitcoin, which is scarcer and more portable, will likely hit $1 million per coin. And this is the barbell strategy of the Trump reset. The timeline is converging. 2025 was the setup. 2026 is the crisis. 2027 is the reset. The gold standard executive order is already written. It is sitting in a safe in the White House, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the debt crisis to become undeniable. When that moment comes, the president won't ask for permission. He will sign it, and the world will change forever. Are you holding the assets that will be revalued, or the assets that will be devalued? The leak has given you a head start.